Welcome back to another episode of Dads and Tech Reviews, where our motto is work smarter, not harder. Today, we're going to be testing out the Maonocaster all-in-one podcast system here. This is pretty darn cool. This is the AU-AM100 Maonocaster. I got the package that comes with the microphone in it. Anyhow, this is set up for podcasters, live streamers, and this has a ton of features that I think you guys are going to enjoy. So let's get into this. So once you open up the box, you get a letter from the CEO, which I thought was pretty darn cool. Also, your user manual. It's protected nicely by the styrofoam. It has that form-fitting styrofoam, so it's protected as it's in shipping and stuff. Once you take off the top layer, then you get down to the microphone, the cables, the little tripod, and all that other good stuff, and we'll get into that in a second. And it also comes with your auxiliary cables and such. As you can see from the video here, you got a really nice package. It looks clean. It looks nice. I love the black with the white buttons and the yellow highlights. It just looks really classy and clean. Something that you wouldn't mind having on your desk, as you're doing your podcast. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through this entire thing. So let's just start with the rear of the panel here. So the back has all your inputs, outputs, including 2 XLR inputs, which is nice because it's more of a professional sound. It just sounds typically better than a USB mic. Then you have your 3.5 millimeter headphone style inputs, and that's typically what you have along the back, one for your phone. So that way you can play music or you can take phone calls. There's an auxiliary cable there, so you can add more music. There's also podcast 1, podcast 2, so you can send the audio to your tablets or your phones and things of that nature, iPads and such. You can also send your audio to 2 different live streams at the same time. And you also have a monitor speaker. That way, if you want to actually take this and put it to a speaker somewhere, you can do that as well. And then lastly, you have the USB-C, which is going to record straight to your computer like I am doing now. Also on the back has the denoise switch, and you're going to want that because I'm going to actually switch that off right now, and you're going to hear the difference when I turn that off. So I just turned it off. You could probably hear different things going on, snapping, all the different sounds. And when I turn it on, it just helps a little bit. Then lastly, you have the power button and the loop button on the back. I'm not going to really talk about the loop button. It's not anything that I'm going to use, but anyway, power button on the back. That's the back. Let's move to the front. Front is very simple. Monitor 1, monitor 2, and that's going to be your headphones. I have one plugged into monitor 1 because I'm only using one microphone right now. What that is for is so you can monitor your audio levels and things of that nature as you're going through this. One thing to note, when you're turning up your monitor audio, like there's a little switch here that we're going to get to in a second, it's basically going to control both headphones. So you can't just listen to one, have one turned down, one up, and that's something I think they need to work on, but that's okay. Another great feature is this has a battery built into it. So this can be taken on the go. You can actually take your podcast and go somewhere. You can meet your guest. You don't have to just stay in your studio. You can actually take it somewhere, and that's pretty darn cool. Before we get to the Maonocaster and what all the buttons do on the front, I just want to talk a little bit about the microphone. So again, it comes with this stand. This is made out of metal. It is very heavy. That way it doesn't tip over if it's on your desk or something like that. You bump your desk. This does have a shock mount in here. And you can adjust the height on the stand as well, depending on how high you want it to go. Again, I'm using my boom arm. That's just what I prefer. The microphone itself is made very well. It's made out of metal, including the actual mic. I'm not going to start grabbing this because it's going to make a bunch of noise, but including where the microphone actually sits. It is a cardioid pattern style microphone. Comes with the wind muff as well. Very well made microphone. Now I'm going to go to an overhead view so you guys can see actually how this works as we go through all the buttons. So we're going to start on this side here. Basically, this is the master volume slider for microphone 1, which is the microphone I'm using. Slide this up and down. Volume there. You just slide that back up and down, and you can get to your volume levels, okay? And you're going to do that for both microphones. You're going to want to hit this one on. That's basically to turn on this microphone, and this is the 48V. Basically, that's the powering and the current that's going to the microphone we have here. Okay, you can mute yourself, which is really cool. So if you're talking and you're doing a podcast and you got to sneeze or something like that, hit that. You're back on. Okay, so here is the master volume control for this as well. Basically, this is having to do with it's called the mic gain, and basically, where the PK is, if you're looking at that PK, what that is your peak level, volume level. All right, you don't want to blow out your speakers. You don't want to blow out the microphones. So what you want to do is you want to have that sit around the green. If it's green, you're good. If it starts hitting red and blinking red, that means your peak levels are too high. This side is basically the exact same thing if you had 2 microphones plugged in. Here at the top is your battery levels. As you can see, we're green all the way across, so the batteries are doing just fine there. So right here is your phone input. So I currently have my iPhone plugged in. I have a song playing in the background. So if you are wanting to add music to your podcast or something like that, that's where you do it. It's already playing. I'm just going to turn up the volume level so you can hear that playing in the background. And I'll turn it up, and there you go. The music's playing. You can put that up. You can also lower it back down and fade it out as you're doing your podcast, which is pretty cool. This is auxiliary input, which is the same thing. It's basically going to allow you to do a different audio system, or you can add music and things of that nature as well. Basically, it's the same exact thing. This is coming from a phone. This is going to be auxiliary. So if you have like an MP3 or even say you want to plug in a guitar or something like that nature, you can do that there. Again, you can always just hit mute on these two to silence those out. These three buttons here, this is your monitor, and this is going to be my headphones. So if you don't want to hear yourself, you just turn that all the way down, and I can't hear myself. But if you want to monitor your audio levels and things of that nature, you can just turn this up, and that's where you're going to hear your headphones. Pitch is pretty interesting. So if you have it in the center, it's basically going to be your normal voice. But if you turn this
down, it's going to lower your voice.
If you turn
it up, you can sound like a chipmunk.
So kind of a fun feature. I don't know how often I would actually use that, but there's that. This is the effect button. It's essentially the same thing, but if you're using these features over here, so female, let's hit this.
Yes, I'm doing a female. I don't think that really sounds like female, but anyway, you can make those adjustments here, and you can do the exact same thing. You can change the effect on that.
And while we're at it, let's just jump over here to these. So female,
that's what you're hearing.
Male just lowers your voice. Music only would be if you're like,
oh, sorry. If you were doing music and you had music, it would basically take your voice out. Or if you have music playing, it would take the voices out as well. Baby.
This makes you sound like a baby, apparently. I don't know.
Let's go into the
robot. There's your robot. So if you want to do like a phantom call to somebody and you don't want them to know who you are, boom, there you go.
And sidechain. We're not going to get into sidechain. There's a lot of things that you could do with sidechain, but we're not going to get into that. So let's jump over here. These are preset audio sound effects that you can put into your recordings. So let's just take a look. I think there's 1, 2, 3, and then this is the last one that's set up. But let's.
A few moments later.
Okay.
A few moments later.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hit it again. Your horn. You know, you got to have your horn.
Okay.
Okay. And then over here, it's like a little beat button. So, you know, just like somebody curses or you just want to do like a little transition, you know, whatever. And then these are all empty and you can put into there what you want. Okay. So you can add those. Oh, forgot that one. Oh, that's kind of fun. Didn't even realize that was there. Okay. Then you go to here and mix. Mix is your master volume as well, but this is for everything. So if you were playing everything at once and you did a big turn down like this, it would basically turn everything down. So if you had music playing, everything else, that's what your mix is for. Over here you have studio, KTV, church, hall, valley, and room. And these are just different modes. So when you're talking, what it sounds like, we're in a studio, so that's what we want to sound like. But if you want to do KTV, there's KTV. There's your church mode. Welcome to church. All right, now you're in a hallway. Interesting. Valley. Hello. And then lastly, you're in a room. We obviously want studio because we're in a studio and we don't want to sound echoey. So this last part up here is called Electron, and this is basically auto tuning. So, and it has different keys you can be in. So if you want to sing and you want to record and you want it to auto tune, this is what it would sound like. B, we're going to a B, we're going to a B. Actually, that was a B. This is a B. There's a C, we're going to a C, we're going to a C. Wow. Please do not sing anymore. Okay, I won't. Anyway, you get the point. As you can see, there are a ton of really cool features on this Maonocaster. I absolutely love it. It is something that's really cool. If you're going to be doing podcasting, I think this is something that you would want in your repertoire. It looks really clean. It looks nice sitting on your desk. It just looks good. It sounds good. It's intuitive. It's pretty darn easy to use. And I think most people will have no problem figuring out how this works and to make it work for them. And one of the best parts about this is the pricing on it. This thing is not that expensive, especially for an Audiocaster like this. I mean, this is really, really cool. I keep saying Maonocaster because that's just, they've kind of, you know, copyrighted that name. It's theirs. They own it, which is really cool. But anyway, you're not going to find another Audiocaster like this, portable. Now, there are some things that do I wish they had? Yeah, maybe like Bluetooth. It'd be cool if there was like a Bluetooth option on this. But that's not really that big of a deal. The other thing that I do wish they had on it was the ability to just record directly to the caster itself, like some type of input that I could just put and records the audio to that instead of having to take it to a computer or to a phone or something else. I would love to just be able to record to this. So it's like truly take this podcast, record, be done. You don't even have to take phones, anything else. Just bring your microphones in this. That would be a really, really cool feature. So Maono, think about that. Other than that, completely impressed. Absolutely love it. Maonocaster, Dad's DIN stamp of approval. Boom. Nicely done. This is currently selling on Amazon and the Maono website. I will leave a link to both. If you buy it on Amazon, I actually get a little bit of money for that. So I would love for you guys to go purchase it on Amazon. But anyhow, if you don't, no big deal. Check out both links and see which one you can get the best price at. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up today's review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget, work smarter, not harder.